Need more leads. I need better leads. This is something that I often hear from the coaches, consultants, experts, leaders, service providers that I work with, and that I just also see out in the marketplace. That a lot of people, a lot of business owners in the service based area, coaches, experts, um, a lot of times we feel like the main bottleneck in our business is that I need more leads. I need better leads. And this is really interesting to me because I get an inside look at a lot of people's businesses and my own business, right? My wife and I have owned our businesses for almost 20 years now. So I've have that experience of operating, multiple service-based businesses um, for almost 20 years. And I get to look at the inside of a lot of other people's businesses. And it's interesting to me that for whatever reason, a lot of times we think the bottleneck is leads. And then when I look at the business, typically the main bottleneck is not leads. It's typically conversion. It's typically sales and how someone's delivering um, their service. And that doesn't mean their service is not great or anything. It's just the structure, the container with which they're delivering their service is usually something that could be changed to really help in the delivery, to make it easier, to make it simpler, to make it take less of your time, and to maybe even get the clients better results. Usually, the biggest bottleneck is somewhere in the sales process. Um, that there's a lot of leaky leads that aren't, coming on to work with you, or they're not coming to work with you in your highest level or value work, right? Sometimes we're undercharging. That can be a part of the sales process. That is a bottleneck. I often see that with people. Most people are definitely undercharging, but usually it's not a leads problem. Don't get me wrong. You definitely have to have leads uh, in your business, but typically you need way less leads than you think to hit your revenue numbers if you have a great sales process and great offers. So typically one of the first things when someone is talking about that they need more leads, and I look in the business, one of the first things we typically change is their offers. If you have a first date offer that is easy to say yes to and is at the right, is done at the right price and is having the right types of clients you love working with, coming in to work with you, that really sets up your business for success. And most people don't have that. They don't have that type of offer. Now, the other thing is, so instead of a leads problem, most people have an offer problem. Their front end offer is not doing its job, which means there's a lot of marketing and sales that have to be done to even get a client, right? When your front end offer is doing its job, you have to do very little marketing and sales to get a client, right? So that eliminates a lot of work when you dial in that front end offer in the right way. And then alongside that comes the next offer, the back end offer, the ongoing offer, so to speak. And here's the other thing. When we feel like we need leads, what I've seen in my experience, and I've made this mistake, is that we try to build out, we try to get leads and build out a marketing funnel, a marketing path to get clients. And I have at this point in my career, after owning businesses for almost 20 years and helping a lot of people with their businesses, I have a very strong opinion that if you're a coach, expert, service provider, um, you really should not have a marketing funnel unless you're at a certain level in revenue, right? If you're doing $1 million per year or, somewhere in that range, then it's totally fine to install a marketing funnel and maybe build out some more of your brand if that's what you want to do. You don't need to, but i- in that circumstance, then it can make sense. But if you're just doing 5, 10, 20, 30,000 a month, um, and you're not at that in the million a year range, then I strongly believe, and I've seen in my experience that you really shouldn't have a marketing funnel. And a marketing funnel is typically, some kind of path for prospects where maybe you're offering something for free, some kind of, back in the day, we'd call it a lead magnet or something for free where you're giving people information or you're educating them or maybe you're even entertaining them a little bit. And this is in the hopes that over time they'll become a client. I mean, this is what most people do. And in my experience, for a service provider, coach, expert type business, it's much better to just have a sales funnel, not have a marketing funnel at all. And you just have a sales path to working with you. And this means that your business is, in terms of how you get a client, is offer driven. It's driven by your offers. So people aren't, you're not building some big audience of people who have gotten your free lead magnet. You're building, you're getting leads by making an offer to people. And then they're basically talking to you to see if you can help them. That type of sales funnel, I think, is the most important thing when you're, whether you're just starting or you're even at six figures in your business or multiple six figures. You want to really dial that sales funnel in, not a marketing funnel, because a lot of people are doing a ton of marketing, creating content, and it's not leading to the amount of clients that they want. And that's usually because they have a marketing funnel, not a sales funnel, right? Um, so I recommend you dial in your offers and then you create a sales funnel around that where people are seeing your offers, they're talking to you about that, about how you can help them. And there's not this long period where you're educating them and giving them content and, the traditional marketing funnel, because the best clients anyways are people that have newly identified they have a problem and want to solve it now. They're not going to wait 6 months, a year, 2 years to solve this problem. So that's why this offer driven sales path to working with you is the best. If you're a high level service provider, coach, expert, you don't want the clients that have identified a problem and are like, well, maybe I'll take care of this in 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Those are typically going to be the worst clients to work with. You want people that have newly identified this problem and they're looking for solutions. They're like, okay, I'm going to solve this. How am I going to solve it? Who am I going to solve it with? And an offer driven sales path to work with you is exactly what that person needs if they're going to work. So that's what I recommend. Go dial in your front end offer. My wife and I, we call that a first date offer. You want to dial that in so you can put that in front of the right type of people. And it's a very short path to the right person working with you, right? It's not complicated. It's very simple. It's direct, and it gets help to the people who need it and want it right away.